I need to talk about our film this week in the name of the Godfather, the Son of Odin, and the Holy Jedi, and that is finally Black Widow. Black Widow. Black Widow. Black Widow. Yes. And I will be trying to do it spoiler free. I'm not going to try to, I'll just give you my opinion on it, and that's it. I with the post credit, I will talk about that because I think it's fun to talk about that. So that's the only thing I will spoil. So, but I'll do that at the end. And so if you don't want to know, just kind of either mute it for a second, and then or whatever. Yeah. I just, I have to touch on things others have said. I've been seeing what other people think of the movie, too, and it makes me think about it. And now, having seen it, to make my arguments, because I don't always agree, I agree with actually a couple of things, but not everything. Look, let's be clear. Most people like it because it's fucking just too enjoyable not to, dude. That's the thing. But it's still so bothersome for me. This is like a thing that that people will literally just like purposefully rate shit negative on purpose just because they want to just because they're sick of something being. It's a real sickness in the human condition. Like we used to aspire to greatness, but now it's like somebody's fucking. It's like the whole Tom Brady thing, right? I'm not. I can't believe I'm relating this to sports a little bit, but like I'm not a Tom Brady fan. Like I'm not like I was never a Patriots fan. I'm a Giants fan, okay? But I love Tom Brady, dude. That man is good for the sport of football. You know what I mean? Like he's just great. He's the greatest of all time in the sport, and that's something to admire and aspire to. I'm not going to hate on him because he keeps winning. Do you know what I mean? But that is a thing that we do in society now. People will hate on things because it's good or great. Marvel is the biggest thing in Hollywood, and it has been for a decade. There are people who literally just rate the next movie just negatively on purpose because they just want to see one of them fail. Do you know what I mean? This is a thing. Okay, now if you're that person, you're fucked up mentally somewhere along the way there. But that's beside the point. Okay, if you never liked the Marvel movies, fine. Okay, you just didn't like them. But even still, some of those people are just either it's a taste thing or sometimes there's a lot of it that's just hating on it to hate on it because everyone likes it. Here's where I'm annoyed, and I've said it before on this show about things. If you're a Marvel fan, I know you're gonna say that I'm like pampering to it because I'm a big fan of it, but that's not. When you're a diehard fan of something, okay, and the filmmakers decide to put something out that's not exactly what you expect or you didn't care for it, they didn't betray you. This was the whole Game of Thrones thing that I talked about. You love this thing, but then a part of it's different. Not bad or really shitty or worse, or just different and just not what you expect. You hating on it, you're betraying the thing that you love. Nobody fucked you over. You need to chill. You need to chill, dude. You're betraying the thing that you loved. That's what my point with this movie is you can't stop cherry picking what you want this movie to be, okay? Because it's ridiculous, especially when it's just really super enjoyable like this movie is. Like, if it's good, like, but there's things that are like, why can't they just do this? Like, shut up, dude. Just shut up with that stuff. Let's stop with the cherry picking. That's what I don't like. yeah, unless Marvel puts out something really fucking bad and it's obvious that it's really just terrible. That's different, dude. That's totally fucking different. In the meantime, no, shut the fuck. One of the things people said was, it's a little too late. It's too little, too late, right? Whatever the fuck that is. It though. Is it? This has been framed as a prequel from the fucking get go. So the fact that it doesn't even take place in the current timeline means that it could have just as easily come out when it takes place in the timeline. So should they have? Yeah, am I sort of in agreement? Yes. Should they have released? Should they have just made this movie in 2017 after Civil War? Yes, 100%. Because it feels like an Infinity Saga entry. It does not feel in any way like a Phase 4 movie. Okay, aside from introducing Yelena, Red Guardian, Melina, those characters who we will probably see again in Phase 4 and forward. Aside from that, right? And aside from the post-credit scene, those are the only two things about this movie that feel a tiny little bit about Phase 4. But in no way did I think this is just a movie that's meant to set up stuff that's coming. No, dude. It actually feels like a movie from the Infinity Saga that we're just getting now. That's what it's supposed to feel like, and that's what it felt like to me. It in no way felt like it was just some setup movie. Okay? That's right off the bat. Did not feel too little, too late. Should it have come out sooner? Yes. Does it really matter that much? No, it does not. So that I don't really get. I understand that COVID didn't help either, because it just pushed back a movie that we already needed to have yet another year. I get that. Totally understandable. But and I mean, with all that being said, it really doesn't matter that much when we get this film. Like, that much. Okay? It's here. It's finally fucking here, and it didn't disappoint. It didn't really disappoint you. Even the people that are kind of... It didn't disappoint you. Let's be real about it. It was super enjoyable. The action packed, full of poignant moments for Natasha and the characters that we just met. Scarlett Johansson is every bit a powerhouse, badass, and manages to be even more an embodiment of like this role model figure for young girls, for regular women, and for just kind of everyone. She's a hero. She's a hero for everybody. Even more so because of this extra chapter in her story that we even get to have. We could have not even got this movie. Think about it like that, because her arc is finished. You know, don't forget that part, right? Right. It just, I mean, she's always great, Scarlett Johansson. She has embodied this character from the start, and it's just a fitting way to give her like a send-off. She gets her, just gets her moment to shine, where it's really about her for once. And I didn't feel like she was overshadowed either. She wasn't overshadowed by Yelena or Alexia or anything. It's just that when you think about it, we don't really need to dig any deeper than they dig into Natasha in this movie. Like, her whole backstory and everything. Like, in terms of depth, it makes sense to me that the depth we get is what it is. It's good depth. I think any more depth is good depth. And here's why, right? Because this is not the first time we're seeing her. This is like, her arc is completed. It has been completed. It's been fulfilled. It's a very long arc over a 10-year period that came to a fitting conclusion and a final decision by her character in Endgame. This film is just, it's about spotlighting her. It's spotlighting a moment in Natasha's story that we just didn't get to see yet. We get to see an adventure that already happened, and and that we're getting to see now. And it does kind of complete her story, because it just kind of fills in any questions we had. Think about that for a minute. Any questions we had have been answered in this movie. Like, what really happened in her past, did you not get those answers? I did. I 100% did. It's all the depth we need. It's all the depth that we need. Could there have been more character-focused moments? Sure. But what do we lose if we get those moments? Think about that, too, because I feel like I'm saying think about that. Think about that a lot. We've had our deep, powerful Natasha moments in the MCU already. I think it makes sense to spend time with Yelena and Alexei and Melina. I think it actually makes sense, because knowing them deeply is what you do with new characters, first of all, but also knowing the people who shaped Natasha into the person she is, that also adds depth to her. So I didn't have a problem with us digging into, like, who these new characters are, because they're, we are who we know, too. Like, the people who shaped us and raised us, and that just adds even more backstory to who Natasha really is, too. I think, knowing her family deeply. And yes, in the process, we come to give a whole lot of... Does it help? I don't think it harms in any way that we actually give a shit about these characters, Yelena and Alexa. Like, we can't... Like, they're awesome characters, dude. Awesome characters. I mean, Yelena was... This is my favorite character. I can't wait to see this character, dude. Yelena is so fucking... Florence Pugh is so fucking good. So funny. So funny. The funny moments in this were all her, man. Like, touching, super touching moments with her character. I can't wait to keep watching this character's arc now grow, because that they're setting her up to be the next Black Widow. This theme of family is at the center, but also the theme of, like, sisterhood. Like, the whole dynamic between Natasha and Yelena was just the best thing about the movie. That's where we get our most poignant moments, was between the two sisters. David Harbour is a fucking scene stealer as Red Guardian, 100%. Is it a bad thing, by the way? No. I don't... It's hard for me to complain about anything. I'll tell you the one thing that I didn't like. I didn't care for Taskmaster, the villain. I just thought that the character was completely underutilized, and again, I'm talking about underutilized characters like we talked about President Loki. It's just that here's a character that is plain and simple, just brainwashed like any other widow, but there's just a little more backstory to this one because it has a direct connection to Natasha. But that's fine, actually. That helped the character. But what really didn't help was that there was less... I just didn't feel like the character had her own agency, really. There's a lack of screen time for the character. And a lack of actual character development, I guess. So it was almost non-existent. It's like the character is such a wild character in the comics and everything. Like, I feel like we didn't really get to see what Taskmaster, the real Taskmaster, what Taskmaster can really do. Like, with the whole mimicking of moves and everything, we got like a brief glimpse of what the potential of that is there. But it is a must-watch. It is a must-watch fucking movie. I mean, and at the end of the day, I had such a fun time there tonight. The theater experience, when it's like that, it's packed. Okay, just being in a theater again. Kevin Feige came by and like kicked off the movie for us at the Chinese theater. He came out and fucking said hi. That was fucking unexpected. It's, I mean, it's gonna save the box office. Here's the Marvel films have owned the box office for the last decade. Now it's going to save the box office from COVID. I mean, my theater was packed to the gills, sold out, and other theaters will be too. So when people complain, it's foreign to me. If you never liked Marvel, okay, but if you do and you're complaining, post-credit scene, dude, so fucking good. This post-credit scene. This was supposed to be, so Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, blah 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 blah, Contessa de Allegra, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who we first got to see in Falcon and the Winter Soldier this past year. I mean, recently, right? Her original first appearance was supposed to be in this post-credit scene because this movie was supposed to come out first, right? We got that post-credit scene. She knows Yelena at this point, and it's a setup. It's a setup for Hawkeye, and I knew that Yelena's the next chapter of her story is in Hawkeye. She's in Hawkeye, and I forgot until I watched this post-credit scene that she's actually in that. I totally forgot about that. I remember seeing the casting for it, but I forgot. And yeah, dude, I can't wait to see her again. I'm like, damn, when do I actually get to see her again? And it's fucking actually really soon because she's in that. And I'm over here thinking like Obi-Wan when he tells Luke, so what I told you was true from a certain point of view, because fucking Valentina totally plays that card here, making Yelena think that Hawkeye it was in some way responsible for Natasha's death, therefore giving Yelena reason to go after him. I guess it's heavy, and I guess the only question I actually really have is, where have some of them been? And did Yelena and Alexei, did they get snapped away by Thanos? I do want to know that. Because you know what that does? That adds even more depth. Again, I can't seem to use another word tonight. It's just what's at the cusp of my brain, so I'm just going to keep using it because it's easy to just pull from whatever's right there. When I'm talking about depth, I'm really talking about just the, development of the character, just the layers of a character's moments and arc and everything. That's what I mean. And again, Jesus Christ, can't get the words that I'm trying to actually say out of my fucking mouth. But think about how powerful Natasha's moments actually are in Endgame. That's, by the way, like, aside from, that's like her best moments, like her best movie. That feels like a really good Natasha movie too. Is Endgame, especially with what happens and her decision and every. But the fact that she was leading people in that movie felt like a really driving force for decision making and everything, and her growth and her. We feel her pain and like just all those very touching moments with her character. Think about how it would give all those moments more depth, and her really wanting to fucking bring everybody back. And when she's talking about bringing back family and all this, she's really talking about everybody. She's talking about both of her families. It would really be powerful shit. It would add more depth to those moments if she was also talking about Yelena and Alexei and Melina, who also probably got snapped away, just like the rest of her family. The Avengers that got snapped away and they were trying to bring back. I mean, just to think like that, there was probably a whole nother layer to her pain in that film. So I do want to know if they got snapped away, because it would be a really good decision on the part of writing to do so. to have it be mentioned how they were actually snapped away, like many others. When that big bold purple bastard snapped everybody away. Go check this out, man. You gotta watch Black. Who's not watching Black Widow? You know, who's not? Look, was it the best Marvel movie? No. Was it the worst? Absolutely no way, dude. Actually, for me, best female-led superhero movie. Better than fucking Wonder Woman. And you know why? Because Wonder Woman still did the thing I don't like. It rose all the stakes to fucking, like, oh my god, end of the world. They didn't ground Wonder Woman. Not really, if you think about it. It still turned into, like, her needing to save the fucking universe at the end. This was a very grounded, personal, families, the themes of family, that's all of it, dude. I don't know what there is to complain about. This is, it's right in the middle there. For all the MC movies, it's right in the mix, you know? It's one of their better films, and yeah, I can't wait to go see it again. Get a little stoned, too. I always like to do, like, a second screen where, like, I get a little stoned. Yeah, that would be cool. And now for the rating of this one. I think this is second best female-led Marvel storyline. I think WandaVision is the best female-led Marvel storyline so far. So this is right after that. And that's where I put it, too, in my list. Is right after WandaVision. With an 8.5 out of 10. Because it was really, really fucking good. It was really good. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. You got a problem with it, you come talk to me, and we'll sit down and we'll hash this out.